Welcome to the comeback season, where we have real conversations about fueling your body, rebuilding strength, and stepping back into the life you were meant to live. Whether you've been caring for kids, aging parents, or just lost sight of your own needs, we see you. And this is your season to rise. Hello, my name is Nicole McLeod with Healthy Mind, Healthy Body. I'm a mindset and fitness coach and the author of I Started on a Tuesday. I know what it feels like to lose yourself in the chaos and still hold on to the hope that something better is coming.
And I'm Christi Kelsey from Christi Counts Macros, nutrition and mindset coach and food freedom advocate. I've worked with lots of women who felt stuck, restricted, and unsure where to even begin. Together, we're bringing you honest conversations, healing truths, and real strategies to help you rise again, physically, mentally, and emotionally, whether you've hit rock bottom or you're just tired of putting yourself last. This space is for you because this is your comeback season, and it starts right now. Welcome back to the comeback season. I'm Christi, and today we're diving into a conversation that blends body, mind, and healing in such a powerful way. We have a special guest with us today, Hanna Kok, an educator, medical intuitive, and coach who's dedicated her life to helping people reprogram their subconscious beliefs and move from simply surviving to truly thriving. She develops tools, courses, and even an app called iThrive that helps people shift out of old patterns into health and freedom. Hi, Hanna. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Christy, so much for this opportunity. And let me also start with thanking your audience for being here. I really appreciate taking time to listen to us. Thank you.
Yes. Hanna, will you please tell us how you got into what you're doing now and who you serve?
Well, how I got into what I'm doing is a bit of fate because as you said, I'm an educator, I'm a trained teacher. And then one day I thought I've been only from school to school to school, changed side of the desk. I know nothing about life. I grew up in the Netherlands, had done my teaching training there, was teaching there. And I thought I want to see a little bit more of the world. And I wrote to people all over the world, and only a little country called Lesotho wanted me to do something for just to earn board and lodging. And so 40 years ago, I traveled from just 41 years ago, I traveled from the Netherlands to this little country called Lesotho, which is, if you look at the map of South Africa, is like a little pimple in the middle of the country. And I lived there for 12 years. And while I was there in a really remote little village, I was introduced to brain gym or educational kinesiology. It was an American lady came to visit me. And she loved visiting us there so much because it was a real African experience. And then she taught me this educational kinesiology. So that's how I got into it by fate. And then when my husband passed, I realized, okay, well, now I'm going to do this. I'm going to turn this into a profession because we were running a store at the time and didn't want to do that.
Mhm. Yeah.
So that's where the journey started.
And who do you serve? Who's your kind of your target audience?
Well, I've got two legs actually. I work with women that do have hormonal problems because I did do the educational kinesiology or brain gym. That was my first training. And then I also trained as a medical intuitive and an allergy practitioner. And there I learned a lot about hormones and how the body is connected with the mind. And when you address the underlying issues, then you can, the symptoms can go away, the body can heal itself.
Mm-hmm.
So I serve the ladies then with the hormonal problems to the point where they have maybe that it's interfering with their work. But what I also do is I work with relationships where there's conflict. And I call myself a peace facilitator where you can single-handedly create a harmonious relationship. So I don't have to work with both partners.
Mm-hmm.
I can work with one. And I don't know how it is in the States, but I know in South Africa, January is peak season for is divorce season. You know, a lot of people off in the new year, they want to start a clean slate and they decide now I have to divorce.
Mm-hmm.
A
Yeah.
lot of those situations can be prevented if they knew how to look at their relationship and how to resolve the conflict single-handedly. I've seen even abuse stop. Physical abuse has stopped. And I know for myself, my relationship also has improved a lot by applying what I do with my clients as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are both such important niches. And I know that our audience will appreciate your wisdom today because many people in our audience, they've spent their life focusing on others or focusing on their career. And we're in midlife now and we're shifting to what do I want? What do I need at this point? And it's a turning point. It's a pivot. And I think both of those niches that you have will speak to certain people in our audience. So when you sent me your list of talking points, I thought, wow, these are things so many of our listeners are struggling with. So I want to get started, just jump right in with what's eating you, with what's eating you. I thought this was a
Yeah,
very interesting way to jump into how things that we do affect our physical health. So why don't you start us off with that topic?
I'm glad you asked that question because it also will yeah, go nicely with what you were saying. We're in midlife. And when you're in midlife, you reevaluate your life and you look back and you think, what have I done? And then you have regrets, things you didn't do that you wanted to do, or that yeah, you've been doing things that you didn't really like. So this is the reevaluation program, phase in our life. And then you start judging yourself for it. Now,
Mhm.
the interesting thing is that that judgment and that conflict that we now have within ourselves and hormonal imbalances go hand in hand because it is, have you heard of meridians?
Yes.
Those are those energy pathways and the acupuncturistic needles in them to get them flowing.
Mhm.
But it's our mindset also has an effect on them. And we have one of the meridians is called the circulation sex meridian, which is very much involved with our whole hormonal system.
Mhm.
And the one thing that inhibits the flow of that circulation sex meridian is holding grudges.
Mm.
And so as soon as you hold grudges, it makes your hormonal imbalance worse. Now, if you're in menopause, everything is now amplified. It's like a long PMS. You
Mm.
know, it's like all of a sudden you realize, but I don't like this, I don't like that. And now people think that you can solve it by changing your outside, but they don't realize it is something is eating me inside. I'm upset about something, whatever that something is. And only when you resolve that
Mhm.
will you find peace and your health will return naturally without diet changes and lifestyle changes. I'm not saying that they're bad.
Mhm.
Uh, they work for many people, but they also don't work for everybody. And sometimes I know, don't tell me what to eat. I
Mhm.
eat quite healthily, but I don't want to eat in a particular way. And also, I have a certain lifestyle. I want to live my lifestyle. And the good thing is when you address that thing that is eating you, and I'll tell you a little bit more how that works, then when you resolve that, things resolve itself and you will start taking better care of you because you've now not fighting with yourself.
Right. Yes. And actually, Hannah, being a nutrition coach, I hear what you're saying. And loving yourself has been a huge part of my message because, I had a profound experience where I went from always trying to be skinny, like forcing myself to look a certain way. And then I had some health issues, which forced me to look at myself in a different way. Like, I've got to take care of this girl, you know? And and so I had a shift in how I looked at myself and viewed my health. But another thing that you said was holding a grudge. And I always thought that was such an interesting phrase, hold a grudge. But it really does feel like when you can't forgive somebody or you're holding on to that hurt and anger, it really does feel like you are holding something inside you and you don't realize it until you've let it go. What a weight it was.
Absolutely. And the thing is, what people don't realize, because first of all, people think, oh, well, forgiveness is like a religious thing. We're taught through our religion that it's important.
Mhm.
But there's a whole science behind it.
Mhm.
Because if you look what is going on in the body when you hold a grudge, it affects many things. First of all, as I said, it inhibits the flow of the circulation sex meridian and other meridians. So you have less life force running through the body. And that will affect everything. You'll have less energy. You wonder why you're so tired. Well, the energy is not flowing.
Yeah.
Then if you look at the amount of energy that you have, say you have 10 units of energy for the day. I'm not even talking about that you squeeze now the hose pipe that is not even flowing properly. But say you have 10 units of energy in the day, then about 4 of them you'll use for your daily activities and your playing and work and everything. It's about 60% of your energy goes into maintaining this body, making sure it doesn't fall apart.
Mhm.
So it's repairing things, replacing new cells, digesting your food, getting signals, hormones running around. 60%
Mhm.
of that is a lot. Your whole immune system also.
Yeah.
Now, when you hold a grudge, when you are stressing over something, it in a way is a similar thing. You got something and you worry about it, you're thinking about it, you can't let it go, you may be upset with somebody. Now, this is taking a lot of mental energy.
Mhm.
And if it's really bad, it will take a lot of your energy.
Yeah.
So now you still have your 4 units for your daily life, but that what happens is when you're stressed, your brain doesn't function properly anymore. So fun is out the window. You cannot concentrate because you're in survival mode. You lose access to your higher wisdom. And then your left or right brain. So now you only see the details or the big picture. If you're stressed enough, you don't have the whole brain functioning anymore. So it's like driving around with 3 flat tires and you're not getting anywhere.
Right.
So 40% is highly ineffective. You're not getting much done. Now you get frustrated on top of that. And more and more of your energy is just going into your frustration or the thing that is milling in your head. And instead of having 6 units to maintain the body, you maybe have 4 units left.
Mhm.
Now, can you imagine if you have maintaining a building and 4 of your workers are not there of the 6? You
Mhm.
can have all the materials, you can eat the right foods, you can take the supplements, you can do all the right exercise. If you do not have the energy for the maintenance, because too much of your energy is eating at you somewhere else, then things are going to fall apart. And that's when you get sick, your immune system goes down, so you're more prone to getting ill, all of that.
Yeah.
And then on a cellular levels also, you have the stress hormones flowing through the body. They hook onto the cell membrane, signaling a stress response in the cells of the body. And they now go into overdrive, and you shorten the lifespan of the cells as well. So that is premature aging. And now we do everything to look good and not age so much. And But in the meantime, it's the stress that is
Mm-hmm.
aging you. And when you let go, when you do the forgiveness, and I've got a specific way of forgiveness, makes it a no-brainer. When you do the forgiveness, now you have your energy back to do the repair. The energy flows through the body again, through the meridians, the stress responses of the cells, so they can start repairing as well. So there's a whole lot of things can turn around through forgiveness.
Yeah. Another thing I was thinking is that when you're worried about something or have conflict in a relationship, you're always thinking about that. And when that conflict is gone or that grudge is gone, you have so much more space in your brain to think about other things.
But have you noticed that there are a lot of people addicted to that stress? So
Mm-hmm.
when they resolve that thing, they will go and look for something else to worry about. It becomes a physical addiction. So the drama queens,
Mm-hmm.
kings for that matter, it's a physical addiction because those neuropeptides are like opiates, and you now looking for that adrenaline stress response kick.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very interesting.
That is
And
interesting. What's one of the most surprising ways you've seen emotions show up physically in someone's body?
well, just to my own example for is a lot of women after they've given birth. I was one of them. Now you cannot sneeze safely or jump on a trampoline without having to cross your legs.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried everything, pelvic floor exercises, whatever. Couldn't get it right until I discovered I was holding grudges. And when I let go of that, overnight, the dripping stopped.
Wow,
Yeah.
amazing.
And they didn't come back, because when you do the pelvic floor exercises, as soon as you stop doing them, it comes back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I can now jump on a trampoline. I don't have a problem anymore
Mm-hmm.
at all.
That's interesting.
But yeah, I've also had people with major hormonal imbalances, severe pain with periods, bleeding 10 days a month, cramping,
Mhm.
endometriosis, and within 3 months, a combination of coaching and my app, all the symptoms were gone
Mm, that's amazing.
without diet or lifestyle changes. So,
Hmm. So, can you share with us some steps to take if someone might be holding on to resentment or stress that's affecting their physical health?
yes, I'm glad you asked that. That's how I make forgiveness a no-brainer. You see, we think that that other person did something bad to us. They harmed us in a certain way, and we hold a grudge against that. But what I say is, if you're in that situation, first of all, look at what is the good that came out of it.
Mm.
How has it served you? And people go like, what? It didn't serve me. Yes, it did. Because even um, a rape or a loss of a job or murder for that matter, it changes your path. And that you can make that path a better path.
Mm.
Like I'm busy writing my book now, bitter or better, it's your choice.
Mhm.
So when you realize, hey, this is a bad thing, or this is something I don't like, but
Mhm.
I can turn it into a blessing by looking for what is the good that is coming out of it.
Mm.
That's the one thing.
Mhm.
The other thing is that I say to people, well, what did you see in that person that you don't like? Well, they're rude to me, they don't are inconsiderate, or something like that, or they don't listen to me, or they don't trust me, or they don't appreciate me. Then I go like, well, if they don't appreciate you, well, how much do you appreciate you? Do you compliment yourself ever? Do you think you're okay? Or if they are rude, how rude are you to yourself when you make a mistake?
Mm.
And you'll find that that person that you don't like is showing us how we treat ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And when we change how we treat ourselves, we are way more likely to reach our goals.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I start treating myself with respect, or like you had, you were saying, you ended up with health problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
I can imagine. But now, look what you're doing. Would you be doing this work that you do now if it wasn't for those problems you had back then?
No.
There was a blessing there.
Yeah.
And you had, as you said earlier, you had to learn to be respectful of yourself and be considerate of you. And we get upset with other people because they treat us the way we've been
Mm-hmm.
slave driving ourselves often. Now I'm looking at the other person, I'm going like, oh, you're just my mirror, and you just given me gold. You showed me what I need to change in my life to improve the quality of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to forgive that person for being my perfect mirror. And most importantly, I want to forgive myself for treating myself the way they were treating me.
Yeah.
And when I do that, well, for me, that is a no-brainer. I know for people that it's like, do I now have to admit that I'm just like them? Well, doesn't matter. Yes, you do, but it doesn't make you a bad person. It's just, oh, well, that's what you did. But you didn't know better, so you couldn't do better. So it's not like your fault,
Yeah.
but you can change it.
Mm-hmm. We always have a choice, is what I like to say. We always have a choice.
Absolutely, absolutely. Bitter or better, it's your choice.
Mhm.
And if you decide to hold on to that being upset with yourself because you think it's unforgivable what you've done, well, you're punishing yourself.
Mhm.
Or if you think it's unforgivable what the other person has done, you are giving your life force to that other person, to the person you least want to have it, and they could be even in the grave.
Mm. Yeah.
I mean, you have children?
Yes, I do. I have three.
Okay, yes. How old are they?
21, 19, and 17.
Right. So when they were little, I always say to them, if your child came to you and they had done something, I'm saying when they were little because sometimes it's easier to forgive them when they're young than when they're old because they should know better. But when they're little and they've done something, whatever that is, would you forgive them?
Oh, yeah.
Right. So if you can forgive them, why can we not forgive ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you want to go out of your way to see if you can rectify the mistake, but it's still forgivable. And I always say, if you look at Christianity, I'm not here to say, you have to have a certain religion, but that was the message that Jesus had. It was about forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
He knew what he was talking about because that is the way we turn back to love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, and actually that came up for me when you were talking about, how the body responds when we hold on to a grudge or resentment. I was thinking that's probably why that's part of religion, is because they knew how it affects us physically.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of wisdom in the religion, and I say it's not for me to tell me what you have to believe, but do learn from those people. If you don't want to go with a religion, at least learn from them because they really knew what they were talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so good. Do you have anything else to say on this topic before we move on?
No, I think, well, people often ask, how do you know if you need to forgive somebody?
Mhm.
If you're irritated, you need to forgive somebody. And that can be in your home, but it can also be those politicians that you don't like,
Mhm.
or those parts of community that you don't like. In our country, we have a lot of racial issues
Mhm.
blown out of proportion.
Mhm.
And um, again, there is that forgiveness, because it's about we're not valuing other people and
Mhm.
we're not valuing ourselves enough, realizing we need to respect each other. That's the only way we can move forward.
Yeah, it always helps me to think um, of the other person. Like we've had different experiences, and the other person on the other side is not going to be coming from the same place I'm coming from because we've had different experiences. And not that takes it completely away or makes it completely right, but that helps me a little bit have some more compassion.
Yeah.
Somebody.
Well, the other thing, what I noticed when I was doing, while teaching courses, I always would ask, well, what do you want from life? If you imagine you're on your deathbed, what do you want to be remembered for? How would you spend the last 3 months of your life if you were given 3 months? Or, yeah, those were mainly the things. What do you want to be remembered for, and what would you do?
Hmm.
And every person, no exception, wants to be healthy, wealthy, fulfilling relationships,
Hmm.
and somehow make a difference.
Hmm.
They want to be remembered for their love and kindness and helpfulness.
Right.
So I say we are like a bunch of smarties. Outside we are different, but the inside we are just the same.
Mhm.
And when we realize that that other person is also doing their best to create a happy, healthy, wealthy life for themselves, just a different way.
Yeah.
And let's see if we can both get there, not one at the expense of the other.
Yeah. That's good. That's really good. Um, let's move on to your second topic, why your inner genie keeps granting the wrong wishes.
Oh, yes, yes, thank you. You know, people are so convinced that they see reality. Like, I saw it with my own eyes. This is what happened. And these are the facts. I'm sure. Well, have you ever heard of the Dartmouth? I think it's the Dartmouth experiment. What they did was they had some ladies and they said, we want you to go, we're going to put a scar on your face so you have a physical disfigurement. And then I want you to notice if they are discriminating against you because of your scar.
Mm.
Okay. And then just before they showed it in the mirror, so it looked really, really, and with makeup artists
Mhm.
movies, they know what they're doing. It looks really bad. And they said, okay, just before you go in, we just need to patch it up. And while they patched it up, they actually removed the scar.
Oh.
There was nothing. But they went into the interview thinking that they had a scar.
Mm.
Most of the people that came out said, no, definitely. They felt discriminated against. Those remarks, these and these remarks were made to that was about their scar or their disfigurement. But there wasn't a scar.
Mm.
How is that possible? Well, I'm sure you've heard that of the fact that 95% of the time our subconscious mind runs our life, and 5% is our conscious mind. So that relates to our output, what we do, what we say. But do you know what that ratio? That's about almost 1 in 20, right?
Mhm.
1 in 19. Do you know what that output difference or input difference is? So the output is 1 in 20. Input, for every 40 pieces of information my conscious mind takes in, do you know how much the subconscious mind is taking in that same second?
Uh, I would say probably like 20 times that or something like that. A lot more.
275,000 times more.
Wow.
11 million. So to put that into perspective, 275,000 words make a 1,000-page book. Okay. And then that has to filter down to one word for you. So every second you get one word
Mm.
of all the information that the subconscious has taken in.
Mm.
Now that's rather subjective. Can never be accurate.
Yeah.
Okay, a large part of it is for running the body, but even if you only get one word for every 40 pages, it's still highly inaccurate. Instead of one out of 500-page book. So what happens is our subconscious has to filter all that information down to give you what is relevant or what it thinks is relevant to you. How does it do that? It bases it on what you're expecting. Like the people in that, they expecting to be discriminated against.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they hear. It is about your beliefs. If you think you're worthless, every remark that is made around you that you're worthless, that's the one that you filter out.
Mm-hmm.
All the compliments, you wipe them off the table, you might not even notice them.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is all about our inner world that will determine what we see around us. Now, the inner genie is the subconscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
That is absorbing all that information. But if you now have beliefs of like, I'm unworthy, or another thing is the questions we ask is also like a command to the genie that you have. So if you say, or people use affirmation, well, I'm healthy or I'm wealthy, but if you don't believe it, it doesn't work. But if you have it as a question, why am I healthy or why am I wealthy? Then your subconscious will start giving you answers of why you're so healthy or wealthy, and your life becomes the answer of the questions you ask. The problem is most of us ask disempowering questions like, why do I always mess up? Why does never anything work out for me? Why do I always attract these terrible partners? Why am I so broke? Why am I so ugly? Why am I? And that's why your genie is, that's what it gives you, because you're asking, that's what you receive. That's another wisdom from the Bible and other religion. Ask, and it is given.
Mm-hmm.
Be careful of what questions you ask.
Yeah. I've never thought of it that way, but I really like that. How can we start asking ourselves better questions to our subconscious so that we can get those wonderful things in our lives?
Yeah. So there's two. Well, first of all, you need to know what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Most people only know what they don't want. So you can start with, what don't I want? Okay, I don't want this boring partner of mine. Well, what do you want? I want to feel alive. I want to feel excited about my life.
Mm-hmm.
So now you can ask a question, and this is something called affirmations. It's developed by Noah St. John. And you could ask, well, why do I feel so alive?
Mm-hmm.
But that's still sometimes a bit too much. Then I came across something, people call it love affirmations, called like, oh, I love feeling alive.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody else said, why don't you put them together? And now I'm calling them love formations. So you can say, why do I love feeling alive? Why do I love being excited about what's going on in my life? Or why do I love feeling healthy? That is something your subconscious believes. Because yes, I love feeling healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I might not feel healthy right now, because the problem is if you say an affirmation like I'm healthy or I'm wealthy, then your subconscious mind says, well, have you looked at your bank balance lately? It looks pretty poor, you know?
Yeah.
But if you say, why do I love feeling wealthy?
Mm-hmm.
There's no lie in that.
Yeah.
There's, yes, I love feeling wealthy. I maybe don't feel like it right now, but now your mind starts thinking, okay, what is so nice about feeling wealthy? And now you start thinking wealth, and now you start believing somehow it could come to you. And the same with your health and your relationships. So listen to what you say.
Mhm.
Listen to especially the why questions, because those are the most powerful. So why? What are you saying? Are you saying, why is my life such a mess? You catch yourself saying, oops, I did it again, because you're going to do it many times still.
Mhm.
Forgive yourself for doing it. Say, okay, I don't want my life to be a mess. What do I want my life to be like? I want it to be organized or whatever it is. And then you can say, why do I love? And then you fill it after that in what you want.
I love that. I think this ties into what you were saying on the last topic too, about how we treat ourselves. And I just think that they're tied because the way we treat ourselves is, what we're expecting from others, which is what you're saying here, is we find what we're looking for.
Yes. And the thing is, we it is not always what we expect from others. Well, we only expect from others what we're expecting from ourselves. In
Mhm.
other words, we expect if we treat ourselves badly, we will expect other people to treat us badly.
Mhm.
And that's why don't try and fix the person outside of you in your relationship. If you're unhappy with your partner, name what it is that is irritating you. Look in the mirror and say, okay, what do I see in him? Is he disrespectful, not listening? Like not listening is a big one.
Mhm.
How often don't we listen to our own gut feel or our inner wisdom? We just wipe it off the table.
Mhm.
Why do we do that? Because it doesn't suit us or it's difficult or whatever it is. That helps us to understand the other person and remember, how can we expect anybody to treat us differently than we treat ourselves?
Yeah.
Um,
Yes. And I kind of feel like it's really easy to talk about this, but we like to hold on to those outdated instructions to our subconscious, right? Like, um,
Absolutely.
we
Because, the thing
want
is,
to
people
feel.
have the belief, sorry?
Go ahead.
No, people have the belief that if I now see, oh, I have this habit, now they start, on top of it, start beating themselves up over it. I say, no, 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 that's not, now you're defeating the object. What you want to do is pretend you're going to give advice to that other person,
Mhm.
how you want to be treated, and then apply that to yourself. So there's no judgment, no judgment. It just is. It just didn't work what you've done up till now, and you can change it.
Yeah.
And do it with kindness, as if we've got that little 5-year-old inside of us. Speak to that inner child like you would speak to your own child or to a puppy, or, with patience and kindness and understanding. If we would do that to ourselves, the world be such a more pleasant, friendlier place. If we would treat ourselves the way we treat children.
Yes. And just one trick for that is look at a picture of yourself when you're 3 or 4 or 5 years old, when you're just this sweet little innocent child. If you have a hard time talking to yourself that way, just look at a picture of yourself and try to remember who that little person was, and that can get you on a path of speaking kinder to yourself.
Totally agree with you. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so good. Um, your next topic is forgiveness as a healing tool, but we kind of already talked about that. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to that?
No, only what I want to say is that every illness has a conflict attached to it.
Mm.
Now, I haven't spoken yet about the gift that I have for your listeners. I forgot totally about it to mention it already, but we already know how important our thinking is.
Mhm.
Now, I have this app, the iThrive. It's a web app, and people can sign up for it when they go to my name, hannakok.com. And then they'll get some of those iThrives that will already get them, you play them softly or out loud, ideally when you sleep, and it will start changing the way you talk to yourself, releasing a lot of the anger and the frustration and all of that. And when you sign up for that, you also will get access to this book. You don't have to read the whole book. It's like a reference book. So if you have an illness, say you have, let's say, a knee problem, something like that, then you can look it up, a knee problem, and you can get an idea. Oh, I'm having self-esteem issues, and I feel that I wasn't good enough, maybe in sports or something like that. Or if you have a certain type of cancer, you can look at that one up. Each illness has a specific conflict, and you can read up that in that book that you can then also will get access to when you sign up for my free gift.
That is so generous of you, Hannah. Thank you. We'll have that connected with the podcast where people can find your website.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, and the book is not written by myself, but I've been given permission that I can share it with, my audience and my clients as well, because it's called Germanic Healing Knowledge. It was developed by a German doctor, and he found out that every illness is what we think is an illness is just a biological way of the body trying to deal with a conflict. So, like if we can't sleep at night, instead of taking a sleeping tablet, realize, hey, I am having a conflict and my body is giving me extra hours to think about it and try and resolve this conflict that I have. So whenever I have a sleepless night, I get up and I start writing things down or journaling what is upsetting me.
Yeah,
And then you can go back to bed and sleep and resolve it. Yeah.
that's good. That's really good. So we've talked about how holding on to our emotions can affect our health. We've talked about forgiveness, and we've talked about why our inner genie keeps granting the wrong wishes. Now let's switch and talk about hormones. What part do hormones play in this mission of healing ourselves?
Well, the hormones, they run the show, besides the regular sexual hormones that we have. And I think this is another thing that is very important for your listeners to realize. Once we've gone through menopause, our body still produces estrogen, but not through the ovaries anymore. The adrenal glands take over the estrogen production. Now, if you are stressed, it will use the building blocks it could have built estrogen for you, but it will now create your cortisol or your adrenaline or whatever. And so then you really have a shortage of your estrogen and other hormones. So especially after menopause, you do not want to be stressed because then you have none of those hormones available for you. It makes less of them, but you don't need as much because you don't have the whole cycle going on anymore. So trust that your body can make what it needs. Um, yeah.
I love that. I've never heard somebody explain that so clearly. I find hormones a very confusing topic to talk about, and sometimes I don't really understand what's going on, but that was a very clear explanation of that, and I appreciate that. It's kind of ironic that that happens in midlife because I feel like that's a really stressful time. where I mean, these days, a lot of people or still have children at home, or they're sending them off to college, and they're taking care of aging parents at the same time. So we often call it the sandwich generation, where they're sandwiched in the middle of these two caretaking responsibilities.
Yes, yes. But I have something interesting to say about that as well.
Okay.
Because I'm a caregiver myself. My husband has health issues. It's quite ironic, but I cannot claim responsibility for his health issues. But what I have done, again, talking about that book, it's called The Psychic Roots of Disease.
Mhm.
You look up if you have aging parents, maybe they have dementia, or maybe, I don't know, osteoporosis, for example. Then go to that book, you look up what is going on, and then you say, hey, what if this issue also applies to me? So in my case, for example, my husband has Parkinson's. This is one of the health issues he has. And then when I looked up Parkinson's, it was about being stuck. Now, I had my first husband before he passed. He was stuck. My second husband is stuck because he had a lot of problems at work that felt was very frustrating for him. What does that tell me about me? I also actually am feeling stuck. So now I am focusing on getting unstuck myself. That's one of the reasons why I decided to be more on podcast and things. And now, as I do better, he does better. Not always physically, but emotionally, he's better. Or I'll observe him and I say, oh, it's interesting. Self-esteem is really difficult for him because we normally base our self-esteem um, on our achievements.
Mhm.
And he doesn't have those achievements anymore because he can't work anymore, right? I'm going like, oh, but I, in a way, have the same thing that I'm also basing my self-esteem on my achievements.
Mhm.
And that's when I started to work on this idea of, hey, you know what? I'm worthy just because.
Mhm.
I'm valuable just because. So I'm learning from him. And then it's not a burden to look after. I mean, he still can do things, but it's not a burden for me that I have to dress him in the morning or clean up after him or when he gets out of the shower, because I'm learning so much.
Mhm.
So that is what I say about the sandwich generation. If we're willing to look at what can I learn from the older people,
Mhm.
what can I learn from the younger ones, because every time that mirror applies,
Yeah.
it's a huge opportunity for growth. And that is what the midlife is all about. We get frustrated because we feel stuck.
Mhm.
But if you start realizing, hey, I'm learning from this person, I'm learning from that person, and you keep the focus on yourself, changing yourself, nothing wrong with you. It's not bad. You're just growing. A little tree is not less valuable or less worthy than a big tree, you
Mhm.
know, just grown a bit more.
Yeah. Yes. And to go along with that same tree metaphor, when a tree is just a seedling, it takes less for it to get to its next stage. But when it's an oak tree, a lot more energy has to go into that oak tree for it to get to its next growth stage. So,
And you also don't notice the changes so much. Maybe it grows just as much, but if you're this much and grow 10 centimeters, it's a lot. But if you are huge oak tree and you grow 10 centimeters, it looks like nothing, but it still grows.
yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah. Well, this has been such a rich, engaging conversation, Hannah. I've loved this conversation. I've had a lot of takeaways today, and I know that our listeners are walking away with hope that healing is possible, not just physically, but emotionally as well. Tell us where we can find you, Hanna.
Well, first of all, you can go to hannakok.com, and because the English speaking people love putting an H at the back of Hanna, you can go to Hanna with the H at the end or without the H, and then surname is KOK.com. Then you can sign up for the iThrive app, and I really recommend it. It takes 2 minutes of your time to put it on, and you play it in the background, and it's really phenomenal what it can do for you. And and then you automatically will get onto my mailing list, and you will be you get my contact details. But you can also go to the iThrive website. You can contact me through the website. You can go find me on LinkedIn, and you can follow me on Facebook, but I'm more reluctant to accept friend requests on Facebook. You know how it goes. Then they all of a sudden want to sell you this and that. But so LinkedIn or my website, that would be the best ways to contact me and sign up for the free iThrives.
That sounds great. Thank you for being here. And to our listeners, thank you for being here. And we will see you next time on the comeback season.
Thank you for joining us on the comeback season. Please remember, the conversations we share here are for informational and motivational purposes only. We are not licensed medical professionals, and this podcast is not intended to diagnose, treat, or replace guidance from your doctor or your healthcare provider. Always consult your healthcare team before making changes to your nutrition, your fitness, or your mental health routines. Your health and well-being comes first, and we want you to move forward safely with the right support for your journey.